What's up, everyone? I'm the Kaiju no Kami here from the Toku and Animation News Network here at Colorado Anime Fest 2024 with first...
I'm editor, run different CMVs, interviews now, and we also have...
It's the Khan Man, KHA_man.510 is the Bay, and I'm representing Tapping No Cap, and we review nerdy and seen it and what's your opinion.
And we are interviewing...
Nathanael Platier, or Nate the Moth is my VTuber.
Welcome back. I had a great interview with you last year. It was really fun.
Thank you so much for having me.
And so, have you done anything new since the last time we talked?
Yeah, I've been experimenting a lot more with virtual reality, experimenting with that as a new medium for both mental health awareness, for physical fitness, and just being able to express myself a little bit more as well. So it's been a lot of fun. Even been able to work with some virtual conventions as well. So it's been a lot of new interesting things.
Nice.
So I guess how are virtual conventions? Because I haven't experienced one yet, and I know it's probably a completely different experience from what we're doing.
It definitely is. So first of all, it requires a lot of behind-the-scenes tech work because it's run mostly in virtual reality for a program called VR Chat, similar to Neos VR and similar programs like that. But it has become, for reality specifically, the one that I currently work for as a guest handler on that convention, has had over, I think, 23,000 attendees, which has made it the most attended furry convention, period, including it being virtual or otherwise. So it's been really interesting seeing people create landscapes that are something that you can't really do in a physical place where you can be in space or in a forest or what have you, and be able to connect people from all around the world to voice actors, actresses as their characters, like actually be in the characters that they voiced before. So it's pretty interesting being able to see people connect like that and to see the reactions of people as they meet their favorite voice actors. So.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'll chime in, go ahead.
Well, touching on last year, we had talked about the Tokusatsu realm.
Yes.
And a few of my subscribers, when they saw the interview, and they're asking, "Oh, I wish I knew what other series he liked or has watched."
Yep.
Would you like to share any of those?
Deca Ranger is definitely my favorite. I started off with Power Rangers SPD, and then I was like, "Oh, it's a completely different body actor for Doggy Kruger." And I was like, "Well, different take, doesn't look like a reptile-looking creature."
SPD is actually my favorite Power Ranger series.
It has probably the one of the best plots early Power Rangers series that I remember. I still have a few that I want to catch up eventually because SPD was one of the last ones that I kind of chilled out on afterwards with that. But recently, because of our last conversation, I started to get into Kamen Rider, finally, and was able to do it with a couple of people that were equally into it, that are not afraid of how corny it is, and were able to just accept it for what it is. So I've really gotten into Kamen Rider Build. The announcer for the belt is phenomenal. It makes it sound like a Dance Dance Revolution announcer, like yeah, keep on going type of energy. That just, no matter how many times they changed and morphed and stuff like that, always kept the hype throughout the entire thing. And I was surprised to see how well acting was in that, because coming from Power Rangers and Super Sentai and stuff like that, it's a little bit cheesy, doesn't really have the grounded moments that I wasn't expecting from Kamen Rider, especially in suit as well. I think there's a clip around where one of the Kamen Riders is washing their clothes or something like that, and doesn't realize that there's a washing machine, and you can see, even with the suit on, just the disappointment and anger. They wasted their time washing their clothes.
It's almost like a furry washing their fursuit, and then like, wait a second, I can have a better method to clean this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, one thing I love about Build is, besides the gimmick, it's very story driven. I love the whole aspect of Japan being divided into 3 nations.
Yes.
And if there was a character you could voice, if they decided to dub that series, who would you like to voice?
Oh my gosh. Crocodile and Rogue has some of the coolest moments ever, especially with the shirts that show up later on. Probably either that or Kamen Rider Grease. They both have phenomenal energy. Yeah, I think probably one of those.
I love for Crocodile's transformation, the scream that occurs at the end.
Yes.
I haven't caught up with that series
Oh,
yet.
it's
I fell out kind of like after Mystic Force.
Yeah.
Was I think the last series I paid
Oh, that's a
attention
terrible
to.
season to stop there. you should have stopped there.
Yeah.
All right, I think it's just because like I like the fantasy elements, and even though it was very corny and the plot was all over the place,
Yeah.
it was like one of the ones I stuck on. But it's like, but going into like your other work too, like what are some of the things that like you would do differently if you like had the perfect dub or a perfect video game that you wanted to do?
Can you rephrase the question?
Okay, so I know how you have to like going from like a Japanese media or to other media. If there's like a different method, like you could change in the dub to make it like make more sense for like the Western audiences, if that makes sense.
For Kamen Rider and Sentai specifically, or?
You could, or like in general, like with your other own work, if something didn't line up right up with the script, or you thought could be a little different.
Right. I personally work more so just with commercial voice acting specifically, whereas most of my colleagues work in anime voiceover and stuff like that. But for Kamen Rider or just making it more accessible, it's starting to have more anime-related versions of Kamen Rider. There's one that's coming out that's, I believe, a Disney dub of Sentai. That's like Loser Rangers.
Oh yes, Go Loser Rangers.
That's going to be dubbed relatively soon, I believe. So having it more accessible to anime audiences and letting them see, like, anime is a good starting point of it being like over the top. You're used to it being over the top with like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or like anything that is just usually for live action. You don't expect it to go over the top. You expect it to be more reeled in and more grounded. So having it more for an anime audience and having them expand after that, having it have the same characters but in the live action as well, or different adaptations of it, which they've started to do with some Kamen Rider series. I think that's a great entry point, and especially having it where there is plot, there is intrigue, there is grounded performances, but still be able to mix in all of the silly stuff that goes over the top as well. So.
Well, one interesting thing is like here in America, how a lot of horror movies are people's introductions to becoming actors. There, Tokusatsu's their introduction to becoming actors.
Yes.
Like the guy who played Kuga, as Kuga was airing in Japan, his acting career blew up, and everything he's been in has been a success.
Yeah. Both that, I'm a weeb as far as it comes to Power Rangers and stuff like that. I'm still doing it even now. It's my guilty pleasure, and I'm probably never going to stop it.
So have you chatted with Tony Oliver while you've been here then?
Not yet, a little bit, a very small amount. I got to talk to him a little bit. I try my best to stay professional. I took one small class with him a couple of years ago, right after the pandemic happened. But it's very hard for me to stay professional with people that worked in that industry specifically. So. There are people that inspired me to get into acting, to follow corny dreams like this, and to the point of Tokusatsu period is to inspire people. That's why they're over the top. That's why they have hero complexes that is a little bit over the top sometimes, because you need that in a dark age like today. People need that kind of over the top hero complex to get through the next day, to inspire the next person. And Tony Oliver and many, many other people have done that for this generation, my generation.
And I guess I'll kind of bounce off of that, unless you have anything.
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
Okay. Bouncing off that is like, how would you feel like you're now the inspiration for the next generation to degrees? Because like the VTuber community is getting massive.
Yes.
And it's not just your corporate VTubers. You have so many indie VTubers that are out there. And they're all intermingling. They're all taking part with you, and like I know you're such an influence on the VTuber community. Like I think I've caught some of your streams every once in a while, or I've seen like some of the TikTok clips of you being in there crying. But it just like you're such an inspiration for a lot of people that are up and coming now. You're going from the hi, I'm being inspired, to now I'm inspiring. How is that for you?
I think that being able to inspire people in, like I said, a world that is chaotic like this, and being able to give them a face that they want to be on, to embody who they want to be, regardless of what they look physically, what their age is, what their gender, etc. And to be able to use that as a model to express themselves and to influence other people. The more that it is accessible to people, the more that people do it for the right reasons, not to treat people as numbers, but as actual people, to connect with them. That they all have individual hopes, dreams, that they have sorrows and stuff like that. They all are individual people, and I think that the more that people go into it for the fun of it, for the creative expression, and to make the world a better place one person at a time, truly. I think that is a butterfly or moth effect, I guess, in this case, to spread a little bit of change, person by person. So.
Okay. I can go.
No, only we're allowed to talk.
All right. So to capitalize off of what he just said, bringing up Tony Oliver. These are people who have been a part of projects that, like you just said, shaped our generation. We just lost Akira Toriyama, and now being that this person that's kind of taken the torch, you know, what is the impact that you have received? Like, we just lost JDF, you know what I mean? Like, you are now stepping into these shoes, so I'm asking you, like, what has been the flowers that you have given? What have people said to you at cons where you're like, wow, I'm really making a difference? Like, we're here at Colorado Con. Has anybody came to you and said, hey, you know?
A couple of people, and I wasn't expecting it. First year or this year, I am someone that is very green in the industry. I'm used to being the guy in the chair helping the other voice actors, actresses, and stuff like that. So being able to slowly get it through osmosis just from being in their shadow, and hopefully being able to share that knowledge with other people regardless of what my numbers are. My main thing is I just want to empower other people to do this, whether it be voice acting, whether it be VTubing, whether it be any type of expression. I want them to have the tools to share with them, with their followers, anyone that they want to, because who knows what audience that I might be able to have could be a completely different audience from what some other person could have. I've had one of my favorite followers that started streaming just because I stayed in a Discord call with my community and just met every single person in my community for like an hour.
Wow.
And they started making their own content, and for a they don't even like anime or video games and stuff like that. They're like sports, a completely different demographic than what I could have done, but they have the same love of people and wanting to share that energy.
Right.
And that's something that inspires me to keep doing this, honestly.
Gotcha.
And I hope it inspires other people to do it as well. You have no idea what the next person down the line, what the impact they could make.
Gotcha.
So.
Don't you do music?
I do.
Why is this not a question? Let's get into it.
That used to be something I used to do for a long time. I used to work with Smashified a long time ago, back in the Smash 4 days, when a bunch of things like the Rayman leaks and all these, like Ridley coming to Smash before he was too big to be in Smash and stuff like that. I would make musical arrangements for them, mostly like reorchestrations and stuff like that. I tried dipping my toes into voice acting afterwards with the creation of the 104th Voice Squad with Jonas Scott and a bunch of other people that actually started to dip their toes into real life voice acting. And I just enjoyed having throwing spaghetti on the wall and seeing what sticks. And if it doesn't, I still enjoy it. And if not, if it does work, then I roll with it and see what I can build off of. Because you never know in this kind of day and time what works. The algorithm is a confusing eldritch monster that no one can figure out nowadays. So I'm just trying to step back and actually enjoy the process again, instead of trying to do it for money or for the numbers. Or
If somebody was to look up a song that you was a part of, what would be the song you want them to reference?
I really enjoyed making reorchestrations of old video games. So one of the ones that I really enjoyed was the Kingdom Hearts Agrabah.
Wow.
Agrabah, because I really enjoyed using ethnic instruments that you usually don't get to hear a lot.
Right.
Both that, and I loved making the Ridley reorchestration of just doing arrangements and piecing them together. It can be a lot of fun. I actually was able to find my music program again after like 3 years, so I'm gonna try to get back into that pretty soon. So,
Good.
Do you have an idea of what you'd like to tackle first?
don't tell Jonah this, but I would like to start making music for the D&D campaign.
Oh, that could
would
be
be
fun.
amazing.
You should also look at Hero Quest.
Yeah. I'm open to a lot of new things. So.
What are ethnic instruments? What are some examples?
Zithers, uryus, all sorts of like 2-stringed instruments that come from different. Like I used to use East West Quantum League Symphonic Orchestra Raw, which has like different like zithers and all sorts of different ethnic instruments depending on which location it is on the world, and comes from like plucked instruments, bowed instruments, etc. from each location, and just being able to experiment with it and tweak it a little bit to see what makes it fun, whether it be the original intention of what the instrument used to sound like or adding different effects to it. Is something that I would like to start getting back into eventually.
That's awesome.
Yeah, two of my favorite bands that do a lot of, they'll mix ethnic instruments into modern music is the Tea Party. They do a lot of Middle Eastern tones in a lot of their songs with the rock music. And then there's a Japanese band called the Wakagaki band that does the traditional Japanese instruments like the shamisen along with electronic instruments.
Yes. One of the ones that I really loved, and one of the few ones that I got into as far as a concert goes that uses ethnic instruments and just all sorts of string instruments, is called Bowfire. They are exclusively only stringed instruments except for like percussion and something they add on to the side, but they add uryus, which is like a Chinese 2-string instrument, and find different creative ways to incorporate it into every single genre possible and mix and match it, and it's a wonderful band group. I don't know what to classify them as, but they're a very unique thing to experiment with and to try out sometime.
Oh, sorry.
No. If you have something, go.
Speaking about experiment, speaking about doing orchestras and all that, tell us about your attire. Like, is it inspired from like you just being more in a music like background, or from where you're from, or like tell them about like your style?
You mean as far as like my clothing goes?
Your clothing, yeah, like just your personality. It's a reflection of who you are.
Yeah, I've always been rather quiet, but I suppose I've always had this as like my OC before I became a VTuber furry, that just dressed up nice. I liked being able to be not sophisticated, but not wear like t-shirts all the time. I still wear them like when I'm not at a convention or whatever.
Right.
But I've always loved waistcoats. They always like things like Doctor Who, stuff like that.
Got you.
All sorts of the nerdy stuff like that, and it fits my genre because I'm a nerd.
Are you only a nerd for like Power Rangers stuff like that, or what are the other things that you're nerdy
virtual
for?
reality is something that I am. It's my new hyperfixation since the pandemic started, and probably will be for a long time because that's where most of my work is now, including game shows and stuff and that too. So that's definitely going to be my next hyperfixation for a long time. And I get to put on Kamen Rider suits and stuff like that without having to pay for them.
Right.
Score. So.
It's in a perfect world.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring on that. So I guess I think my last question will probably be like with VTubing specifically is what a good recommendation for someone who might want to get into VTubing if they're brand new at it, like some tricks of the trade, I guess.
Yeah, I mean the best advice I can give you is start off small. You don't need a $2,000 model. You don't need 1,000 different programs. The main thing is just getting the practice in. As cookie cutter as that sounds, the main thing is you have to learn how to start speaking to nobody that's in your chat. Practice not having dead air, and you can gradually start improving your stuff that you have and adding on to it as time goes on. But the most important thing is you can have the most intricate backstory, the best looking model, and if you're not used to using it and being an actor with it, or being able to have a conversation even if there's no one there, which is a huge thing when you're starting out, then all that money is for nothing. So really the effort and the time that goes into it from the beginning is really important. Start from the scratch, get a PNG tuber if you have to, go from there and keep building up from there.
What social media links can people find you on?
You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, as Nathanael Moth. I am probably eventually going to start moving to Blue Sky eventually, or whatever is the next thing that happens. On Twitch, you can find me at Nathan Moth, and pretty much everything. On YouTube, you can find me as Nathanael Platier. That's Nathanael Platier. And I'm probably going to start putting some music back on there again. So we'll have to see.
I'm excited to hear that.
Any final thoughts for our viewers?
Yes, I'll say the same thing that I say after every stream. Remember to be kind to yourself, and to leave the world better than you found it, one person at a time. And remember that you're stronger than your darkest thoughts, especially in nowadays. Keep going forward and inspire the next generation.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Until next time. Bye.